back to the third episode of the Odd Familia podcast. Today's a very special day. Today we have somebody very special guest. Y'all know him. Some of y'all may not know him, but if you don't, you're about to find out. And with that being said, my name is Daniel Madrigal. My co-host here, Benin
Mubera. So today's episode specifically, for all those of you that go to the general meetings, they started this series called Opening Doors to Industry Giants. And we thought it would be like a good way to, spread the word, get inspire the people, for our first episode of this series. We have a special guest, Andres
del Toro. Yes, sir. Welcome. How you feeling today, Andres?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm feeling excited. Podcast feels official.
It is.
It feels official. It feels good. So excited to be here. I heard the first two podcasts, the one with Johnny and then the one introducing the crew.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. It's a pleasure.
No, the pleasure's mine.
Could you just give us like a little introduction about yourself, like a fun fact and why you joined Alpha?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll start introducing myself. My name is Andres del Toro, like I said. Originally from Guadalajara, Mexico. I went to a American school over there in Mexico. That's once I graduated, I decided to come over here to the States for college. Yeah. Did my first couple of years in Texas, San Antonio. Then I transferred over here to Arizona State University, studying finance, business data analytics. In terms of why Alpha, I feel like when I transferred here, I didn't know any people. Yeah. So actually, I'll revert back a little bit in the story. My first year in college was COVID. So I started college online in Texas. Didn't really get to know a community. I met a couple of friends through another Latino organization over there. But the one over there wasn't as focused on that professional side. Not like here with Alpha. Alpha is a national organization. You have Alpha Phoenix. You have Alpha all over the states. Yeah. And then over 160 chapters. So it's a very different organization. So when I got here, I hadn't really had that college experience. I started during the COVID days. I think I did my first 3 semesters online. So I only got to really experience one semester in person over there in San Antonio. Yeah. So I guess I just wanted to kind of know more people, get to know, make some friends, meet some like-minded individuals as well. And fun fact, I'll share this along with the Alpha stories. I actually heard about Alpha. I went to the HBSA versus SHIP game, the soccer game that they did. I'm not sure if they still do it. I thought it was a really fun thing. And I met Pablo there. Pablo went and played there. He's the past president before Isaac. Yeah. And he had the America jersey, Club America from Liga MX. So I said to him like, hey, nice shirt. We started talking there for a little bit. And he said like, hey, why don't you stop by Alpha as well? Meet some of the people there. Back then it was a super small club. We averaged 15, 20 people per meeting. Yeah. Socials maybe even 10. So, but it was still a great place to be. There was a lot of potential there. I wasn't as involved at the beginning. My first semester, I think, I was there as a member. I went to a couple of meetings. I only really showed up to the meetings for the companies that I was more interested in, right? Yeah. But that's kind of how I found about Alpha, how I joined. So it was by chance. It was not like I researched. I knew about Alpha before, and that's why I'm here with you guys today.
That's it. Well, lucky for us that you joined.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Actually, we're actually very honored for you to be here today.
Yeah. Big senior, yes, going out to do big things in the world.
About to graduate this winter, right? This winter, about to graduate. How does that feel? About to graduate?
I think it feels exciting. I think I did actually 4 years and a half just because of my transfer. Yeah. So I had to do an extra semester and then I added a second major. So I think I'm ready. I'm ready to be done with kind of school for now. I do want to do an MBA in the future, maybe 3-4 years into my career. I think that's definitely something I have my eyes set on. But for now, I think I'm ready to kind of get to that more structured schedule, kind of really start having more of an impact on the organization that I end up working for. And and really just grow more professionally and personally as well.
Yeah. We do want to ask you more about like that after college life. We'll do that later on. But could you talk just a little bit about your internship, like how you got it,
Yeah,
just to
so
start.
again, alpha.
Yeah.
We've all heard about the alpha stories, but it's real. That's why I think Isaac did a really good thing with this opening doors to giants series.
Yeah.
I think it gives the members, especially those freshmen, sophomores, um, the opportunity to see what's really out there, right?
Yeah.
We hear about these things from maybe students at top colleges or some of those Ivy League schools, and you don't think it's possible, but it really is. It really is. Alpha is a great network, a great resource for everyone. So I went to this was around the time when I decided to join the board. Actually, I ran for elections, and unluckily for me, the VP of finance position was the only one that had two candidates running up for it.
Yeah.
And it was more of it was a smaller group, so it ended up being that I didn't get it, right? I didn't get the position, but I was persistent with Pablo. I messaged him. I was talking with him. I was like, hey, anything I can do to help the team, or maybe even as a chair, whatever I can do, I'm really interested, right? I really want to join the club. I want to do a little bit more outside of school. It was still my early days here in ASU, so I felt like I really wanted to keep myself busy. So it was during the summer, maybe around June, July, that he messaged me. He was like, hey, yeah, why don't you join the board? Come in as chair for finance and external outreach. So I did a little bit of that with Isaac over the summer.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up in convention. It was in San Antonio, where I did my first 2 years of college. So I knew the place. So yeah, and when I got there, I talked about this in the meeting where I had to do the opening doors to industry giants.
Yes.
Goldman Sachs to me was not in my eyes. Like I didn't think it was possible, right? So it was the second day of the career fair. And I just hadn't. It was the only booth that I hadn't gone and stopped by and talked to the recruiters. I just thought like, hey, I'm not gonna get it. My resume is not as good. I don't have as much experience, so I was like, well, why even bother, right?
Already checked out.
Yeah. So, and I mean, talking with people, and that goes back to my point about being in a place where you're with like-minded individuals, creating that community, is that they push you, right? They make you want to get out of your comfort zone, take those leap of faiths, and take risky decisions. So I just ended up going to the booth. I talked to. His name was Francis. He's the recruiter who I got to know more during this past summer. He actually just left the company, but I talked with him for a little bit. I showed him my resume. I was like, hey, I'm really interested. I mean, I want to know if there's still kind of any positions available. So yeah, and that's where he kind of told me that there were still open slots for the global banking and markets operations division. So he said, like, maybe we can kind of squish you in for a coffee chat later today. We might be fully booked, but I'll let you know. Like, what's your email? So I gave him my email, and I left the booth. He gave me a ticket as well. He gave those around to some of the people like he kind of liked. So he gave a couple of those to some of the people in Alpha, which was for kind of a private event that they did. Where there were speakers from Goldman that got to speak about the company, their division, what they do, why they like it, and stuff like that. But yeah, so I left, and I was like, hey, well, I'm not gonna hear back. There's over 160 chapters, so many students at the convention. I was like, he's not gonna even remember, right? It's the last day of the career fair. They were closing up, so I just felt like they were not in that mindset anymore. But luckily, I ended up getting a interview, so a coffee chat later that day. He emailed me. He was like, hey, are you available? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So I ended up going. I was kind of the last slot in, so I got there. I was waiting, and then the person who interviewed me, I never got to see her again, but she seemed so tired. She was like, I'm not even playing this. She was like so tired. So she was yawning during the interview. And it's not because she didn't want to be there. It was just the natural reaction, right? Sometimes you're just so tired that, locked in for the weekend. So I didn't feel the interview went really well, but I guess I did a lot better than I thought. Um, so after that, I came back. I got my email inviting me to the Super Day. I hadn't even applied to the position at that time. So Francis, I reached out to Francis then. I talked with him for a little bit, and he was like, "Hey, have you applied?" I was like, "No." So I applied, and he was like, "Hey, we just need to get you kind of on record, and then we can have your Super Day." So my Day ended up being moved to October. It was supposed to be in September, but it moved to October.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I had my Super Day. Funny thing is, those interviews, I later talked to my team about how they work. So the way they work is people that are qualified and kind of volunteer to interview candidates from different teams across the same division, different verticals, and stuff like that. They get randomly placed. So the people don't know who they're gonna be interviewing. They just comes up. They're like rapid rounds. That's what they're called, kind of super days. At least that's how they did it for the division.
Yeah.
And I got interviewed by two people to whom I was later placed in their team, and not only in their division, like the horizontal or the vertical, but the specific team, right? So I interviewed with them. Yeah, I guess it went well. I ended up getting my offer, and then I had the internship this past summer.
Could you talk about how it was, or like, could you speak about your role? I don't know if you're allowed to, but just like your role in their internship, like
everything that you did,
the experience, the day to day.
Yeah, for sure. So again, it was another big step, right? It's and this is to all the people out there that are looking for internships. I feel like sometimes people stay in their comfort zone, so they look for things here in Phoenix, maybe even Arizona, or maybe even a virtual internship. I would highly recommend going somewhere else for an internship. Just some place that maybe, even if you don't see yourself living there, or maybe you see yourself living there and you want to experience that firsthand. It's a great opportunity just because when I got there, again, I didn't know anybody. I met my roommate through a portal that was also going to be interning at Goldman. So I got there, and it was my first time that I was actually just by myself. Like, I was in an entirely new position. I was gonna have to work as well, which was my first kind of structured corporate internship. So I didn't know how that was gonna go either, right? I was nervous. You feel nervous. You don't know people, but it was an incredible experience. Like, in the Dallas office for Goldman, it's one of their other kind of hubs that they have. So their main office, of course, New York, but Dallas is actually growing a ton, and they're actually doing an entirely new office, like right across the street.
Yeah.
And they had over 360 interns at the office across all their divisions, teams, functions, roles. So you can imagine it was a great experience, right? I got to meet so many people doing engineering, HR, from other places in South America, other people from Mexico, different places, from Europe as well, other people within the States from different states, right? So it was an incredible experience. Some of them engineers, some of them working in HR, others working in corporate planning, others working within in global banking and markets, others asset management. So it was an incredible experience. The internship, and I think this is common across like many companies. It's not only Goldman Sachs that does this, but usually they host, as an intern, you're treated incredibly, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
They want you to come. They want you to come.
and they want you to come, and they want you to enjoy the company, and they want you to enjoy what you're doing, right? They already invested in you for a reason. They saw something in you, and they want to keep you. They want to make sure that you feel comfortable there. So they hold, like, throughout the internship, you have an incredible amount of opportunities to network. You can reach out to people from different teams that you're interested in, right? Sometimes it's not bad to not really like what you were doing or where you were placed. So it's good to reach out to other people and explore different career paths, how they landed there, right? And yeah, aside from that, they also host several kind of networking events, like speed networking, social events. The first week, I think they hosted a private event for all interns and managing partners. Where it was your first week, so you were still kind of nervous a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it was at this museum, and there was like so many different managing partners, all with a really incredible and unique story and different background. and you could just come up to and talk to them, right? And these are people that are 10, 15, 20 years into their career. They're really good at what they do. That's why they're there. And as an intern, you get that unique opportunity to network with them and talk with them. So, and aside from that, of course, you learn so much on the job. You learn how to take initiative. You learn how to communicate with your team, how to add value. Um, you also have they do this thing where you get your midterm kind of review. So it's another, like, it's okay, maybe you didn't do as good in your first half, so you can take that and say, like, okay, they're telling you what you did wrong or how you can improve, so use that other half to improve the things that they've told you. So they really set you up for success, I think. And I think it's not only Goldman. I think from the people that I've talked with, many companies operate this way, where you go to this big office, you have so many different interns there. They host events, socials, networking events. You can reach out for coffee chats. You can do internal mobility as well, like move within kind of the company. They give you that chance. Some of them do, to do internal mobility in terms of, like, if you want to come back, if you express some interest in maybe another kind of division or team, if you like the company but you didn't like what you did, you can move around, because they, like I said, they already invested so much money and time in you, and they want to keep you.
Stay, That's good. That's good.
That's very insightful. Honestly, me personally, I'm a marketing major. I don't know what I want to do yet, but like with you telling us about like all the internships, I need to start looking them up. So if y'all are at home watching this and y'all haven't gotten onto like looking at internships yet, what are you waiting for? Now's the time, and especially if you haven't been coming to meetings or like socials, start coming, because convention, when is it? It's in the summer, right?
It's in August.
Yeah, it's in summer. So for those people, I mean, you guys know, this year we sent around or over 30 members, people from Alpha. Compare that to last year, we sent.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
It was 10, and those 10 were only the board. Mm-hmm. So it's grown a lot. It's changing. Yeah, it's changing, and we definitely want to open the doors to some of the people that are getting involved with the club, offer those resources and those opportunities. And you said you're a marketing major. Maybe you look for an internship in marketing, or maybe you don't. That's another thing that you really get to learn when you talk with so many of these people and professionals, is that sometimes people studying psychology end up working in banking. Yeah. Sometimes people studying marketing end up working in human resources. Like, there's not really a conventional path.
It's not all set in stone. Yeah. It's always up to change.
Yeah, it's always changing, and you always learn new things about yourself. That's another great thing about that I feel I got from the internship, is I got to learn a lot of things about myself and kind of where I want to be. And that's common for many people who experience the same.
I gotta say, it is nice to hear like how you got there and there's like 300 people from like different like backgrounds, different places. Because whenever I always thought of internships, I always just assumed they'd take you to some random city in a random state, and then they just stick you with a small team of people, and you just gotta find your way.
No, I think it's changed a lot. I mean, of course, there's still, and this is not bad either, some people prefer to work on a smaller, medium-sized company. That's also okay. Each of them have their pros and cons. Mm-hmm. Like, when you're working with a smaller kind of enterprise or company, you really have a lot more access to kind of upper management. So maybe even sometimes you can talk directly with the CEO or director of the company, which is also huge, right? But then there's also the fact that sometimes you're more lonely in terms of how you're operating. Maybe not as many interns or people your age where you can kind of make connections and do other things. But I think each of them are good on their own, and it just depends on kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah. With that being said, I want to ask you another question. You have a lot on your plate. You're vice president of Alpha, first of all, taking all these classes. I know it can be very stressful. What's driving you, and what helps you stay motivated through it all? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things. Like I said, I'll probably revert back to high school. I think one of the things that I didn't do very well in high school was doing a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I had this mentality where I thought, like, oh, if I don't try hard enough, maybe I didn't fail. So you had that exam and say, like, okay, I didn't study, I got an 85. I did okay.
Yeah.
Just kind of safeguarding you from that failure. But I think when I got to college, I think I really started to realize the position that I was in, how fortunate I was, and the opportunities that were presented to me. And I just thought it was time to stop making excuses for myself, to really work as hard as I could. And if I failed, I failed, but I would improve and I would learn. I think you've heard this before, and it's much easier said than done. But you'll learn more from your mistakes than when you get it right.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not sure if you remember, but Riva, who came and spoke in the speaker series last semester, he's a professor here. Dr. Dumont, he's a professor here. I'm actually taking his class right now. And one of the key things that he said was embrace failure. Because I really do think it's the greatest kind of tool to learn and grow and improve.
Yeah, it really is.
So I think that's one of the main things that drives me, is just making sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm putting 100% into it. And if I learn, it's just another chance to improve and do better the next time. Instead of saying like, hey, maybe if I don't try hard enough, I didn't fail. Because what would have happened if I tried hard enough, right? So I think it's just I stopped making excuses for myself, and I started putting myself in a position where I would fail. And that's kind of what drives me and motivates me.
One of the members of our podcast committee, he wanted to ask, like, what are like some of your study habits, or like just your habits in general, like going through college to like keep on track, and
how you maintain those perfect grades.
Like how do you survive?
Know, what's the secret?
They're not perfect. Not perfect. I think it's a mix. I mean, it's been evolving as time goes by. It's just a matter of, I'm not sure how to put it, but just a matter of really kind of dissecting what you have to do and kind of planning a little bit, at least a little bit in your head. There's people that keep a very organized schedule. I'm not one of those. Maybe I should, but I think it's just a matter of, I really like to plan in my head. So I started looking at how my week's looking, which is probably not the best thing, since I have missed a couple of things by doing that. But one of the things that I adapted in my internship, and it's harder to do when you're in school, because like I said, you don't really have a set schedule. But one of the speakers that they actually brought in, I'm forgetting the name right now. He used to be president of the federal bank in Dallas. They brought him in to speak. And someone asked him, like, if you could give one advice to somebody, like, what would that be? And it was like keeping a physical, small kind of notebook, like agenda. So I did that. I went out, I bought in Amazon a pack of like some small notebooks, and that's what I started doing in my internship. And I think it really worked out. Just keeping track of the things that I had to do in the day, prioritizing them, doing like a little star next to the ones that took like high priority. Just a checklist, like, hey, have I done this? Have I not? Like, when can I get it done? I need to send out this email. I need to respond to this person. I need to keep my manager updated on what I'm doing. So that's kind of one of the things that I did. I haven't applied it in school, like I said, because sometimes your schedule is a lot more hectic and it's harder to do. But maybe it's even more beneficial to do it.
Everything more organized.
Yeah, and just a pocket notebook. Keep it with you at all times, and it really does help kind of with your planning and just scheduling and making sure you're doing the things that you're supposed to do.
I have to try that.
Yeah. Also, going back to like your high school experience, can you talk more about that and like the transition from Guadalajara to like school in Texas?
Yeah, 100%. So I used to go, like I mentioned at the beginning, I went to an American school. It was an American. I went there since primary school. Elementary is what they call it here. Yeah. Elementary, so it was like second.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
No. It's because sometimes I think was
different. It's different.
Yeah. Elementary, so I got there in second grade, and it was a really great opportunity. I was really fortunate to be there because it just taught me, like, I learned English and Spanish from a very young age. I also got to kind of learn a little bit about what came next. The counselor there, they kind of prepare you a little bit, encouraging you to apply abroad, to apply somewhere else, to kind of, and not that staying in Mexico is a bad thing. I don't think at all. I think there's great universities in Mexico. For example, Tec de Monterrey, El ITESO, la UP, la UNAM. And there's a couple of other ones, but I think there's great colleges there. I think it was more of a fact that they encourage you to go abroad just because of how it opens kind of your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys said, I came here, although I knew the language, the culture is still drastically different. Adapting to cultural differences, just socializing with people. It really is a process.
A change of scenery.
Yeah, it's a complete 180. So, but I think that's what I wanted to do, right? I think my parents always encouraged me to do it. And I decided to do it just as another way to kind of learn, just as a fresh start. That's another thing, right? I had an entire life back there. I had all my friends. And I think it was just a way to kind of get a clean slate, start from scratch, and really start, like I said, applying myself, right? In terms of how it was, the school, I think it was great. I wasn't the best student. I don't think I was. I mean, I took a couple of AP courses just for the fun of it. I did like AP Computer Science. I did AP Calculus, were a couple of the ones that were offered. And I was the worst student in my AP Calculus just because I never did my homework.
Oh yeah.
So like the teacher, I can talk about this. So when she used to walk around the class, kind of checking the homeworks, she used to, like, at the beginning, she used to come up and say like, "Hey, where's your homework?" And then I said I didn't have it. Later on, she started to know, like, she knew, so she didn't even bother to come and ask. She just marked it. Yeah. So when I did have it, I was just like, "Hey, miss, like, what do you mean? I have my homework right here."
I always do my homework.
Yeah. And I did good in the class. I think I've always been good at math. That's why I decided to do finance as well, which I later kind of, now that I think about it, I would have liked something a little bit more analytical as well, which is then why I later added business data analytics. But I definitely would have enjoyed taking a couple more math classes over here at university, although the finance degree and just the WP Carey School doesn't make you kind of go that far into like calculus, linear algebra, and all that sort of things. But yeah, I wasn't the best student. I had average grades. I wasn't involved outside of school. I did play sports. I did tennis and soccer.
You play tennis? Yes, so I play tennis as well.
I'm a beast. So I played tennis and soccer. I left that in high school. So, in high school, I was not doing much except kind of just going around my life, not doing a lot.
Surfing the wave.
Yeah. I did okay in school, but that's kind of what drove me to come over here and just do a complete kind of change of scenery, like you mentioned, and really start kind of putting my effort in.
I'll stop right here just to say, he mentioned like they encourage you to go abroad. ASU, that's one thing I've noticed. They also do that here. Like there's always people around talking about like do study abroad, go to Germany, go to Spain, Europe. Yeah, they're always talking about it, and that's something that I would also recommend because that's also something that I'm planning on doing, either my junior or senior year, and that's just for people to keep in mind. It's good to just go other places, change your perspective.
It can be a great experience, learn the new culture, whatever.
Yeah,
100%. It's a big challenge, right? When you do it, and especially when sometimes you make that decision and you're not too worried about it, but then the time comes when you actually have to pack your things and go, and then you're like, I don't know if I want to do it.
You're like, damn, I'm really doing this. I'm really gonna leave.
Yeah, actually, one of my good friends from Mexico, he stayed in Mexico in Guadalajara for college. He had super good grades. Like he could have gone to some really good colleges, but he decided to stay. And he ended up actually recently going abroad. Like something we never thought he would do because he was just staying there. He didn't want to get out of his comfort zone. He's right now he's doing his semester in Canada. So I definitely encourage it. And anyone that's afraid of it, just make that leap of faith. Just do it, and then you worry about how to deal with it. Yeah,
you'll figure it out when you get there.
Yeah,
worry about that when you get off the plane.
For sure.
So we're getting towards like the end of like our long list of questions, but one thing I wanted to ask, like, what's one thing you look forward to, like, in your transition? Like, what do you look forward to the most from leaving college to going into that workforce, that work schedule?
I think I'm most excited. This all depends on kind of what you want to do, but it's the first step. What you usually have this plan right in your head of kind of where you see yourself. Some people have it super clear, others don't. I don't think I have it super clear, but I think what excites me the most it's that it's kind of the first big step towards what I want to do. Right. I'm really excited about learning, working, like I said, contributing to the team, adding value, and then learning more about what I like and what I don't. Right now, we're all in a position like sometimes you see people realize that they don't really like their majors soon enough. People sometimes end up not changing it just because they're already so deep into it. So it's exciting to kind of take that first step towards finding out where you really want to go. On what you want to do. So like really learn about what drives you, what kind of motivates you. So I think that's what excites me the most about this kind of transition towards after graduation.
In the spirit of learning what you like, what are some, or are you exploring like any new hobbies that you would be participating in, like going forward?
I mean, I have thought about it. I think I want to get back to reading. I think as a college student, well, this is another excuse probably, but yeah,
you don't have time.
I don't have time to. I have time to read the textbooks, right, or the things that we have to read, but I don't really have time to read the things that maybe I like outside of kind of school, right?
Yeah.
I started reading back in those COVID days. I thought I'd never pick up a book and read it in my entire life when I was in high school, and then I read my first couple of books. My first couple of books, and I really enjoyed it. I think it opens you up again for a different perspective, a different way of learning as well. I think I want to get back to tennis, but play it kind of routinely, at least like once a week. If I had to say one thing that I probably want to start to do, I think I want to learn golf. I never really learned it. I never really played it. And I think it's something that interests me more because it's another, like, it's a good sport where you kind of socialize, networking as well. So you go with a couple of friends on the weekend, you play. And I think in order to be able to do that, you at least gotta be able to hit the ball.
You gotta have a little bit of skill.
Yeah. So I think I'll probably say maybe golf. Maybe learn golf is something that interests me.
Thank you for coming.
That was it. You know, that was a lot. Y'all heard a lot from Andres. Very, very good information. If we didn't listen, y'all gotta better go back. Go study abroad if you haven't already thought
Please
about
do.
it. Go study abroad.
Come to the alpha meetings.
Come to the alpha meetings. Go to convention. Yeah, get involved as well.
Yes.
You want to go to convention. Also, you want to, like, if you haven't started looking for internship now, please do it. If you don't know how to do that, we'll help you out. Andres can help you out. Somebody can help you out.
That's what we're here for.
But yeah, that's really it.
That being said, thank you so much again. And
And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.